Hello, galera! Heavy Culture, mais uma terça-feira, dia 15 de março, a gente vai se chegando próximo do final do trimestre, e aqui muito metal, muitos convidados especiais, e hoje aqui a gente orgulhosamente traz uma lenda aí do death metal americano, Mr. Lee Harrison. Welcome, Lee.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Nossos colegas de sempre aqui, Ivan, seja bem-vindo, Ivan.
Boa noite a todos aí, boa noite ao pessoal que tá nos acompanhando. Já dando os recados, se inscreve no canal, toca no sininho aí, compartilha, para o canal crescer e para a gente atingir mais pessoas aí.
Subscribe the channel.
Yes.
Yeah. Press the bell button.
Valeu, Christian.
Valeu.
Boa noite, Lee Harrison.
Tudo bem com o Christian? O Christian tá meio baqueado, como diz o gaúcho, com a vacina. Mas vamos lá.
Eu tô no slow motion, mas vai lá.
Tá no Doom hoje, é death metal, mas tá Doom.
Hoje é Doom Mode On, no meu caso.
Vamos aproveitar aí que não é sempre que a gente tem aí o Lee Harrison para conversar com a gente aqui.
Yeah.
Eu vou voltar back to past, de volta ao passado, né? Que, né, poucos sabem talvez aí que o Lee tocou ali nas primeiras demos do Malevolent Creation, e depois ali a história, né, o Monstrosity com Imperial Doom, que é um clássico absoluto, né? Aqui no Brasil, né? É importante comentar que aqui no Brasil esse disco é muito popular e muito festejado, tá? E como o Lee, que participou ali dessa virada aí no final dos anos 80, enfim, pegou uma cena muito promissora, como ele via o death metal daquela época, como surgiu essa cena aí que trouxe o Monstrosity, o Malevolent Creation, o Cannibal Corpse, enfim, foi uma cena muito promissora e que a gente ainda vê com muito carinho, né? A gente, como fã do estilo, ainda a gente tem um sentimento assim, pô, como surgiu aquilo, cara?
Okay. George was asking about the beginning of the death metal scene there, okay, and how you see it, because you were there since the beginning, you know?
It was definitely a different landscape. It was more experimental, you know, bands weren't playing fast like they are now. Slayer was kind of like, at the time, considered really fast, and then like bands like Morbid Angel and even Death to a degree, and you know, some of the other bands were taking it faster and trying to go even beyond what was considered fast at the time. Kind of like almost like Slayer was almost considered what was humanly possible, you know, like as far as speed. And I think, you know, Pete from Morbid Angel kind of took it up a notch. And I think, you know, once that started happening, more bands started, you know, incorporating the faster stuff. The double bass, Gene Hoglan was doing super fast double bass. And we were inspired by that when I was in Malevolent Creation, and then with Monstrosity, we just kind of kept going in the direction that we were headed, kind of previously with, you know, even Malevolent.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna speak a little bit in Portuguese here. Bom, ele fala que era um panorama totalmente diferente, né, cara? Porque, tipo, o que tinha de mais rápido, o que consideravam mais rápido era o Slayer, né? E a maior parte das bandas ainda era experimental também, né? Eles estavam descobrindo o que eles estavam fazendo. Então, tipo, o panorama é bem diferente, assim. Naquela época, tu tinha ali o Pete Sandoval, que era um dos bateras que já era considerado rápido pra cacete, né? Aí veio o Gene Hoglan, né? O Death também, o Slayer começou a ficar mais rápido também, então tem todo esse panorama diferente do que é agora. E ele incorporou isso também, né? Tanto no Monstrosity, né? Quanto no Malevolent Creation pra frente, né? Pode perguntar, Ivan.
Vai lá, Ivan.
Então, o Monstrosity, em praticamente 30 anos de carreira, eles lançaram 6 álbuns, 6 full length, e com muita qualidade. Existe alguma coisa, algum planejamento ainda com o Monstrosity que ele não conseguiu fazer ou que ele pretende concretizar?
Okay, if I was asking if you have anything planned for Monstrosity that you were not able to achieve yet, or something that you were planning to do with Monstrosity.
We got a lot of plans for sure, no question. We were actually getting together this last weekend, jamming and writing, working on new material. Studio's coming right around the corner, and so a new album's coming soon.
Oh, great! That's good.
You know, I'm not
concerts.
We don't want to drag it out another 11 years like the last one. That's not happening again for sure. And just pretty much making it happen. Like I said, studio's right around the corner.
Oh, good. That's great. Ok. Bom, eles já estão planejando um novo álbum, estão ensaiando bastante. Tem um estúdio na esquina. Então, tipo, isso tá ajudando bastante, assim, eles não querem ficar parados que nem esse cara por muito tempo, né? Então, logo tem alguma coisa nova saindo aí do Monstrosity, né? Fiquem atentos.
Eu vou voltar ali para a questão do Imperial Doom, porque realmente é um play que nos impactou bastante.
Sim.
Como é que ele enxerga hoje esse play em relação, né? Porque ele foi lançado com outros discos clássicos. E depois que passa um tempo, é importante a gente entender essa visão, né? Passa pelo teste do tempo, né?
Sim.
Como ele enxerga hoje o Imperial Doom
30 anos depois.
30
okay. Jay is asking about the Imperial Doom, okay? Because when it was released here, it was like something shocking, you know, like everybody got like, my gosh, what is that? And how do you see the album now, 30 years later? Like, the same impact? Do you think it's...
Well, honestly, the day after, when, I don't know if it's a secret that we really weren't happy with the album as a band. We were, and not blaming anybody other than ourselves. It was just, I think, at the time we were real into the blast beat. So like the drums are really like too loud and the guitars get buried. Like anytime there's a blast beat, you can't hear the guitars. So, we like the songs, but we just were never happy with the production. And like I said, it's I can't blame anyone other than ourselves because we were just young and dumb. It was our first album.
Yeah.
And so like the drums were way too loud and we were never happy with the mix. And so it was one of those cases where like the next album, we kind of went opposite where like maybe the drums weren't as powerful. So it was like the third album, In Dark Purity, where we kind of found the balance of like the drums being powerful, but yet not just, obscenely.
Yeah, covering everything.
Yeah. So, it took us a while to get our production thing in order. And ever since then, at least the albums sound good, that some are better than others, but they all sound at least decent, and plus modern technology helps with that,
Yeah.
Better sound.
Okay.
But...
Yeah. Okay. Bom, ele fala ali que na época do Imperial Doom ali, eles fizeram muito alto, a bateria estava muito alta, as guitarras muito altas, eles têm uma produção que eles nunca ficaram satisfeitos, eles nunca estavam satisfeitos, eles só conseguiram achar o equilíbrio certo no terceiro disco. Né? É um álbum que eles gostam dos sons, eles acham as músicas fantásticas, mas ele é muito zoeirado, assim, tá tudo muito alto, né? Cada um queria tocar mais alto que o outro, cada um queria fazer uma coisa mais barulhenta que o outro, então isso meio que atrapalhou um pouco a produção do disco. No segundo álbum eles conseguiram meio que melhorar isso, no terceiro álbum eles acharam, né, o equilíbrio para isso. Eles não querem culpar ninguém por isso, a produção, já que agora com, né, a aparelhagem moderna é mais fácil de tu fazer isso, não tem mais a bateria tapando tudo, a guitarra dando uns overdubs desnecessários, assim. Então, ele é feliz com os sons, né, ele gosta bastante dos sons, mas a produção né, é algo que eles não gostam, não, porque primeiro disco tu não sabe o que tu tá fazendo, né, então, tipo, tem isso.
Normal.
Mas é uma referência, agora mais...
É referência, né, mas não quer dizer que
vai lá,
esteja
Ivan.
Então, Tá, agora a gente vamos dar uns passos para frente aqui. A gente vai falar sobre a entrada dele no Terrorizer. Para a gente foi uma surpresa que muitas pessoas não sabiam que ele tocava guitarra também, não profissionalmente, digamos.
Sim.
Quais são os planos com o Terrorizer atualmente?
Okay. If I was asking about Terrorizer, because a lot of people were surprised the fact that you played a guitar, and some people didn't know about it, just like drumming and things like that. And what are your plans for Terrorizer now?
Currently, we're writing the new record. We have a new deal with Earache Records. So the plan is to, obviously, I'm sure you guys have heard about Pete going with David Vincent.
Yeah.
For the I Am Morbid tour. As far as I know, that's temporary. I mean, even if it's not, we're still doing the album. I talked to Pete yesterday, and everything's go for the new album. We're just, when he gets back, we're going to really start working on it. We worked on it in December. We started on some of the new songs, going through them, practicing, and then I did the Inhuman Condition tour in January, and then now he's doing that I Am Morbid thing. So when he gets back from that, we'll continue with the new album. But I already have a bunch of songs written, and plus we actually had some songs left over from the last session. So we'll see. I want to write pretty much brand new songs. So the idea is to get that done in over the summertime, hopefully.
Great. And any concerts planned for the album next year?
There's talk, nothing's confirmed yet. There's the Virginia show on, I want to say May 21st. We're playing a little festival in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. That's the only confirmed show. Oh, I can take that back. We're doing a festival in Monterrey, Mexico with like Wasp and I think Emperor, some bands like that.
Great.
And then there's talk of a European tour. We were supposed to go before COVID hit. We had a scheduled European tour, but because of COVID, that canceled. But as far as I know, the plane tickets are still on hold for that. So the plan is to go out to Europe sometime in the fall, maybe.
Great. Ok. Quanto ao Terrorizer, né, eles estão com quase tudo pronto, mas o Pete está em turnê com o I Am Morbid, né, assim que ele voltar, em dezembro eles terminam, gravam tudo, já tem um contrato, né, com a Earache Records, né, que tá na mão, então, tipo, eles vão fazer alguns shows agora, né, nada ainda pro ano que vem, ainda tá em algumas coisas que eles estão discutindo, né, mas eles vão fazer um em Monterrey no México e tem um show pequeno agora também na Virgínia, né, então tipo, o Monterrey tem com Asp junto e mais outras bandas que eu tô lesado.
Então vamos lá. Eu queria falar do Terrorizer.
Eu ia falar, eu ia perguntar para ele sobre como é que é tocar com o cara que ele se influenciou, mas não na agora ele tá como guitarrista, mas como é que é tocar com o Pete Sandoval? Já que ele foi uma influência para ele.
Sim. If I was asking how is it to play with Pete once he was one of your main influences to play the drums?
He's not my main influence to play the drums. I was playing when I was 7 years old.
Wow! And who was the one to blame?
I was possessed by kids at like 7 years old. So like,
great.
Yeah, I was playing drums long before I met Pete or even knew who Pete was. But pushing maybe like some of the faster. I mean, because I was playing with Malevolent, we were playing fast stuff.
Yeah,
and I didn't know Pete then either. So it was during my time in Malevolent that we met Pete, and became aware of him. But it's fun playing with him. It's like as a drummer, it's fun for me to push him, and I know kind of what how he likes to play and his style.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'd like to push him too, like to get him to do things that he wouldn't normally do, and
Yeah.
But I bet generally I know kind of where he likes to play, like the things he likes to play and what he likes to do as far as his style.
Yeah. Ok. Bom, ele fala ali que o Pete Sandoval, dá desconto aí que o bagulho tá lento aqui. Ele fala que o Pete Sandoval não é uma das influências principais dele porque ele toca bateria desde os 7 anos. Tá? Ele começou tocando bateria com 7 anos, né, e na época do Malevolent Creation ele já tocava rápido, assim, mesma velocidade até que o Pete quase, mas eles não conheciam, eles foram se conhecer depois que o Malevolent já estava fazendo show, né? Então, tipo, eles foram se cruzar depois quando as duas bandas já tinham, né, no Homem, coisa e tal, e aí ele acha que o Pete é um batera rápido, né, gosta assim do jeito que ele toca, e tá sendo interessante tocar junto com ele no Terrorizer porque ele é um batera também, né, então tipo, ele gosta de puxar bastante pro lado da bateria, assim, e também o Pete gosta desse jeito de tocar mais, né, pegado, assim, então tá sendo bem interessante essa coisa, assim.
Já vamos emendar uma questão aqui do nosso querido Rafael Pereira, um abraço aí pro Rafael, quais as influências do Lee na batera? Já que ele toca desde o 7.
A question from the audience here, Rafael Pereira is asking, what are your influences as a drummer?
Hard to say. You know, the usual: Rush, Neil Peart, Iron Maiden, Clyde Burr. Those kind of drummers, you know, heavy metal drumming, pretty much. Lars was in the early days, Dave Lombardo.
Good. Ok. Bom, esse eu não preciso dizer os nomes, né? Você já sabe muito bem quem ele falou aí. Não conhece para procurar depois.
As referências, né? O Rush, o Dave Lombardo, né? O Neil Peart.
Sim.
E aqui eu acho que o João Terrorizer, nosso amigão também, aí, perguntou uma coisa que tem conexão, né? Como é que ele enxerga hoje as produções, as baterias no death metal? Eu tenho uma posição aí que o pessoal não curte, né? Eu sou fechado com o Mick Harris. O Mick Harris vem zoando os batera aí que tocam rápido aí no perfil dele do Facebook, tá? Como o Lee enxerga as produções atuais de baterias no death metal, tá? Em relação, olha que interessante a visão do João aqui, em relação a produções dos anos 90, que na visão do João aqui são mais pesadas.
Okay, we have another question from the audience. Okay, it's about the drum production. Okay, how do you see the current drumming production and the albums nowadays compared to the ones that we had in the 90s? Because like there are some things that were like produced in the 90s, they're very heavier than the things that are being produced nowadays with all the technology that we have. And also nowadays the drum seems a little bit plastic. I don't know how to explain that. It's not like an organic drumming anymore. Like, what's your opinion about it?
Right. My opinion is there should be a balance. You know, I could argue with some people about this, but basically, you know, if you were just to, you know, mic up a drum set and record it and let that be that, you know, most of the time it doesn't have that killer sound. You know, it takes, like, you know, the triggers, give it the, you know, the heavier production, and to compete with today's market, you know, because like you said, everybody's going for that super over triggered sound. I mean, we did it on Imperial Doom, like that. The trigger, like, it was more of a one-dimensional trigger where the volume's one level for the snare, the volume's one level for the kick drum. Whereas with technology, you know, you can get more into dynamics and stuff. Like, it was around the third album, In Dark Purity, where, you know, yes, it's triggered, but there's also, like, if I hit the drum light, the trigger is light. You know what I mean? So it's a case of there's dynamics, you know, instead of one thing. You know, so that was another thing that we were, you know, unhappy about, was that with Imperial Doom, is that the drum triggers were all one dimension, you know, and there's no. To my thing, you know, like, it's like anything, you got to find the balance. You know what I mean? Because you know, to just record analog microphones with no triggers. I mean, unless you just got time to sit there and tweak and tweak and tweak and like, I mean, even still, you have compression. You know what I mean? Drummers use compression for the drums, and so just because it's not triggers, there's still tricks and things that they were being used to like make the drum, like make music sound better. You know, so like it's just another thing to make music sound better. To me, like the album is eternal, so like you want it to sound as best as you can. You know what I mean? You want to watch me and see if I cheat or see if I mess up. Come watch us live, you know, and then grade from there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's balance. That's the key to it all, is finding the balance between everything, you know, because you don't want to.
I agree with you about that.
You know, you don't want cardboard sounding kick drums. You know, you want.
Yeah.
You know,
same thing.
And floppy kick, you know, when you get two kick drums that aren't tuned evenly, boop, 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 you know, that's no good either. You know, so like.
Yeah.
There's, I think, you know, there's a balance between it all, and that's part of the art of doing all that. The art of recording is finding the right and having the right sound.
Ok, falando ali do que ele fala a respeito da produção, hoje ele acha que deveria haver um equilíbrio nisso aí, né? Tipo, não adianta tu gravar tudo no analógico e também não ter um balanço, né? Tu tem, tipo, tinha uns triggers antigamente, ele até reclama que o problema do Imperial Doom também foi os triggers, né? Tipo, ficaram desajeitados, né? Muito alto. Então, o trigger, ele é bom em alguns momentos, mas também ele é ruim, né? Porque tu vai ter que, né, deixar uma bateria inteira trigada, coisa e tal, então o som não soa tão orgânico como ele deveria, assim, mas a maior preocupação dele, assim, é com o equilíbrio mesmo. Tu tem que tentar achar um equilíbrio entre uma coisa e outra, para que tu tenha uma sonoridade que tu quer. Quando tu vai gravar um álbum, tu quer que aquilo seja, né, imortal, então, tipo, tu dá tudo de si ali, mas às vezes tu meio que se equivoca porque tu não consegue achar o balanço correto da coisa, né? Então, tipo, tem isso, assim. E hoje em dia os bateristas estão muito vidrados até nos triggers, coisa e tal, e fica aquele sonzinho meio estranho, né? Aquele que bagaceiro lá que tu ouve não gosta, né? E também tem compressão, né, cara? Os caras usam compressão, seu estúpido, para gravar a bateria também, né? O que faz com que ela soe também mais abafada, né? Então, tipo, a tecnologia hoje em dia ela ajuda bastante, mas se tu não achar um equilíbrio nisso, ela acaba deixando uma coisa muito plástica, porque tem uma competição aí dentro, né, cara? Então, tipo, né?
Eu quero perguntar antes, Ivan, para passar para ti, para não perder a linha do Terrorizer, sobre o álbum Caustic até, que é fabuloso, né? Essa formação, essa nova line-up, o disco é um tiro de 12, como eu costumo falar. O estilo dele, como guitarrista, ele se inspira no jazz pintado, né? Que, né, a gente não pode falar de Terrorizer sem lembrar do World of Fall, que até hoje eu acho que não tem algo que chegou perto, nem o próprio Terrorizer hoje, que tá legal, que tá bacana, mas tem uma pegada diferente.
Mas death metal.
Ele tá mais death metal e né, aquela pegada grind. Então é difícil até a gente categorizar isso, né? O que é grind, o que é death metal. Sim. Ele se inspirou no World of Fall, aliás, vamos simplificar como ele vê o World of Fall como uma grande referência para o Terrorizer, né? E parabenizar pelo Calce Attack, que realmente é um disco muito show.
George was asking about the Word on Foul. How did you see the album and the importance of the album, and if you were influenced anyway about the guitars to play, because you played similar when you recorded the guitars on Terrorizer 2?
I'm sorry, what was the beginning of the question?
It's about Terrorizer, World on Foul. Okay. It's very influential. It was a very important album in the career of Terrorizer. And when you started to play the guitars, you brought something similar to the band. Were you influenced by these guitars too?
The short answer is yes, but like I was playing, like I've always written for Monstrosity on guitar.
Yeah.
You know, it's always me and a guitar player usually, like Imperial Doom, da 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 da. That's my riff. You know what I mean? So I was always playing guitar. Like, you know, I was a guitar player before I was a drummer, but I'm left-handed, and my dad wouldn't let me play left-handed. He forced me to play right-handed. So I was discouraged. Was kind of discouraged. So that's how I ended up in drumming. But at the same time, I'm glad he did that because now I'm a right-handed guitar player, and it makes things easier as far as that. But yeah, I mean, like when I don't know, I would say around 13, I ended up going out and buying a guitar and a little practice amp, and I was playing along with stuff, and I was doing like one-man band demo tapes, you know, and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I would say, like when Terrorizer World Downfall came out, I learned that album just for fun in like 1994. I remember spending a lot of time playing guitar around that period and playing more guitar. And so my thing with it was that, you know, the second Terrorizer album and the third Terrorizer album kind of got, you know, they were more down-tuned.
Yeah.
And they were, you know, overly triggered, if you will, with the drums. And so with Caustic Attack, I kind of wanted to bring back the old tuning. So it was a D standard tuning, and I wanted to bring back more of an acoustic sounding drums. So that's what we did, you know.
Great. Ok, ele fala que ele tem, sim, na resposta curta, né, ele tem influência, né, mas ele sempre tocou guitarra, né, tanto que ele fez alguns riffs do Monstrosity no Imperial Doom, né, tipo, o riffzinho que ele tava solfejando ali é dele, foi ele que criou, né, mas ele acabou sendo forçado a ir pra bateria, né, mas ele, aí em 94, ali, quando ele descobriu o World Downfall, ele acabou, né, tirando ele inteiro por diversão, né? Então, tipo, ele sempre gostou de tocar guitarra, né? Tanto que ele, em 93, ali, ele tinha gravado uma deminho, tipo, One Man Band, né? Por diversão, assim. Então, isso, a guitarra para ele sempre foi importante, assim. E no Caustic Attack ele já tinha, eles tentaram voltar para aquela afinação utilizada no World on Found, né? O segundo álbum ele já tem uma afinação diferente, né? É mais baixa, né? Salva eu, Ivan, que a afinação é o D.
D, é.
Ok. É foda.
Essa formação que tá com o Terrorizer já tá junto desde 2003, que é o Lee Harris na guitarra, o San Molina no baixo, vocal, e o Sandoval. É essa formação que vai gravar o novo álbum?
Ivan is asking about the lineup for the new album.
É mais duradouro, é o que tá mais tempo junto.
Is the current lineup, okay?
For which band?
Terrorizer. It's like the current lineup is the one that is going to record the new album.
Yes.
Ok, sim, é o lineup, ok. Né? Alguma outra coisa referente ao Monstrosity que vocês queiram perguntar?
A Monstrosity?
Eu tenho uma. It's like just a curiosity. You played the guitars on Atheist, right?
No, it was drums. I only played one show, and it was just to fill in for Steve. It's kind of a long story, but after Malevolent, I played this on the second demo for Malevolent, 1989 demo, and then things didn't work out. So I went back to Sarasota, where my parents were. That's kind of the neighborhood that Atheist is in.
Yeah.
And I met Roger Patterson from Atheist, and we would go out on a Friday night, hang out. And he asked me, he said that their drummer was going away to college and that they're going to need a new drummer. So he gave me the cassette tape for Piece of Time. And I started learning, side one, and it's about as far as I made it. And then, then I talked to him, and they said that he's not going to college. He's going to stay in the band. So I stopped learning the rest of the songs, Yeah. And then a month later, Atheist was supposed to play with Steve, and those guys were supposed to play in Fort Lauderdale opening for Cynic. And the morning of the show, he called me up asked me if I could play the drums. Yeah. So the side A songs I played good. The side B songs were good.
Like, it's like,
and zero practice with them. Like the first time I ever played with them was on stage. So it was, I would say it was half and half good and half terrible. And that's the long story of it. So
not so easy to play too, right?
No.
Okay.
But it was still fun. We had a good time, and it was whatever.
That's the point. Okay.
Kelly Rules, Brand Berkey's cool. Roger was God. Steve's great. So, all kudos to them, man. Love those guys.
Kyle Schaefer teve com nós aqui numa live.
Yeah. We had the opportunity to talk to Kyle here, in a live. It's pretty nice.
Eu queria
deixa eu só dar. Sim. Ele acabou no ateísta como baterista porque o baterista ia sair da banda, né? Ia pro Carnage. Aí ele tinha tocado a demo do Malevolent, mas não rolou legal, né? Segundo a demo. Ele acabou saindo e aí ele conheceu o cabeça do ateísta, que eles moravam perto. E saíram algumas vezes pra tentar. Ele pediu pra tocar, né? Ele deu uma fita com a gravação do Piece of Time pra ele aprender a tocar. Ele aprendeu a tocar o lado A, né? Direitinho. E aí depois eles ligaram pra ele dizendo que não precisava, porque o cara ia ficar na banda, né? Não vai sair da banda, coisa e tal. Daí, ok, então pronto. Daí depois, né? Ligou pra ele de novo num belo, quando era a hora do dia do show lá. Ligaram pra ele de manhã dizendo que se ele podia aparecer pra tocar a bateria porque o cara não ia tocar. Então, tipo, né, vai lá. Ele tocou. Ele disse que tocou bem o lado A do disco, mas o lado B, ele, tipo, não teve tempo de ensaiar. Então foi meio que no susto, assim, né? Ele tocou. Ele aprendeu a tocar ao vivo. Depois de ser assim. Então, tipo, não foi que nem o lado A, que tava tudo bonitinho, assim, né? O lado B foi meio, né, pifado, assim. Mas ele gostou bastante, foi uma experiência legal. Eles são bem amigos, assim, né? Tipo, a história é bem longa, né? Mas foi legal.
O Lee vai tocar uma bateria pra nós aí, cara. Tô percebendo uma movimentação.
Eu queria fazer uma pergunta para ele, já que ele falou de guitarra. Quais são as influências como guitarrista que a gente quase não... Ele é mais associado à bateria, mas quais são as influências dele como guitarrista, então?
Boa.
Ivan is asking about your influences as a guitar player.
The usual suspects, the Eddie Van Halen's, the Randy Rhoads, those kind of guys. I always loved, those kind of players. But as far as death metal, the guitar player that we played with on the Millennium album, Jason Morgan, he kind of set the standard for the band.
Yeah.
The picking style, a real, super tight picking. I don't know. Pretty much him, Yngwie Malmsteen, of course, all those kind of guys. I love good guitar players.
Ok. Bom, meus nomes eu disse, não vou traduzir, não tô afim.
Tem uma pergunta para ele aqui sobre... Depois tem uma pergunta aqui no chat.
Tem ali
tem
uma de audiência ali. There is a question from the audience, okay. Any ideas about doing an Imperial Doom Anniversary Tour? Especially since Mark is back playing with you?
It could happen. Let's put it that way. I don't want to spoil anything or go too early before it happens, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Okay, good. Pode ser que aconteça, não quer botar nada assim, tipo, né, vai acontecer, mas pode ser que sim, é bem possível que sim, né. Ivan?
Ele se tornou também além disso, de guitarrista e baixista de bandas, ele também se tornou um pouco, tem uma carreira de live member, e ele vai fazer alguns shows com Inhuman Condition. Ele pode falar sobre isso também? Até é uma das perguntas do Gabriel aqui.
Mm-hmm. Ivo was asking about you being a live member from other bands, okay, and you were doing on tour with Inhuman Condition. Can you tell us anything about it?
Sure. Basically, Jeremy, I don't know if you got to know their history a little bit, but he played drums on the record, and he's more of a drummer, I think. He's known more for being a drummer. Let's put it that way. And he's in Venom Inc. He's in The Absence, and then they were going to be Massacre, and then that whole thing with the Massacre fell apart. So they basically had the album ready to go, and so he just decided to sing on it. And then when it came time to doing live shows, they instead of getting a singer, they decided Jeremy would sing, and that they would hire a drummer. And they had a guy named Rustin. He did the first show, and I thought they would just continue to use him, but because he had called me before that, seeing if I was available, but there was something going on at the time where it didn't happen. And then Rustin ended up doing this first show, and then they asked me to do a second show, a local show here in Tampa. So I went ahead and I learned the songs, and I played that show, and it was around that time they had announced a U.S. tour. And I ended up going on that, and then they did a second U.S. tour this past January, and we did that tour. And I think it was yesterday they just announced a Deicide tour. But I don't know what's going on with that. They haven't talked to me about that, and I'm not sure if I'm booked at that time anyway. So I think there might be something going on anyway, but. It's still kind of early, and I'll let them decide what's going on for them. It's kind of the way they told me, that they're approaching it loosely. Like it's not like I'm in the band or anything. It's just I was hired to do those tours, and that's what I did. And we'll see what happens in the future, and make plans from there.
Okay.
But it's fun. It kept me busy. It was something to do. It's not. I played with Obituary, and that's fun. That was kind of a cool experience, and so it's not quite, like that kind of got me used to the idea of not playing extreme all the time,
Yeah.
And, whereas Inhuman Condition's kind of right in the middle of that, where it's a little like fast,
in between.
Yeah, it's a little faster, but it's not quite, like full bore speed, and so it's kind of a nice change. It's not like you don't have to kill yourself to play the songs and stuff. So
Great.
It's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Those guys, Logan Taylor's super cool. Jeremy's super cool. Terry Butler's off. I toured with him with Obituary, so I love him. He's a killer dude. Jeremy's wife was super cool on the road. Totally, it was like a team, so it was cool.
Yeah, that's great. Ok, falando do Human Condition ali, né, quando o Lee voltou para os vocais, coisa e tal, o primeiro show, né, foi com outro baterista, né, e eles ligaram para ele falando se ele podia fazer o segundo show, né, ele foi pro segundo show, do segundo show eles fizeram um outro show, e aí anunciaram a turnê nos Estados Unidos, né, fez o show. Quanto ao Deicide, né, ele ainda não tem nada certo ainda, porque, como ele falou ali, ele é contratado para fazer os shows, né, não faz parte da banda. Para ele é legal, porque isso mantém ele ocupado, né, e também é legal tocar ao vivo, né, tipo, ele tocou com o Obituary também, que foi bem interessante, assim, que ele gostou bastante, ele até falou que o Lee tá bem melhor. E a questão também é que com o Inhuman Condition ele tá no meio termo, né? Ele não é nem rápido e nem lento, né? Então não é aquela coisa super fast, né? Mas é uma coisa ali no meio termo, né? Ele é rápido, mas tem umas partezinhas mais centradas.
Muito
assim.
bom, muito bom.
No Obituary ele tocou guitarra e tocou batera.
Caramba.
Ao vivo.
Caramba.
Sim.
Enfim.
Ele disse que foi bem legal, assim, que, tipo, ele gostou bastante do pessoal do Obituary, né? Tipo, eles são bem legais, né? Tipo, tem uma amizade legal com os caras.
E no meio de tudo isso, de tantos projetos, de tantas participações, eu queria entender aonde saiu a necessidade do projeto, né? O Lavoisian. Não sei se é assim que se pronuncia, Lavoisian. Né?
Ou escreve aí.
Lavoisian.
Lavoisian. Yes.
Lavoisian.
Yeah.
Como surgiu essa necessidade desse projeto que ele que ele toca tudo, enfim, é um projeto
extremamente inusitado.
Extremamente inusitado aí. Como é que surgiu essa necessidade, né? E aonde tem tempo para tanto projeto?
Okay, Jay is asking about
Lavoisian.
Yeah, Lavoisian. Okay, how did you have the idea to create this?
E o que significa esse nome também?
É boa.
Yeah, it's like he is asking about the idea of creating this band. You know, it's like he did everything, and it's pretty different from the usual bands, and the meaning of the band, the meaning of the name of the band.
Yeah, the idea is more of a rock project, you know, and it's kind of okay. You know, it's a way for me to work on my vocals and my guitar playing more and stuff like that. And I've got a bunch of songs written. I'm just waiting to release them. I want to get them recorded properly. And I've recorded, I got, you know, pre-production stuff that's killer, but I just want it to be next level. So I'm hoping, you know, eventually here I can get in there and record some of my best songs. Because like I said, I got like 60 songs.
Whoa.
Yeah. That have never been released, you know, so. And I already did a covers album. I got like, I don't know, 12 songs for a covers album.
Oh, great.
Pretty much, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with it all. It's just one of those things where I end up getting busy with other things. But, you know, I do work on it. I do enjoy it a lot. And I think, you know, it's fun for me, you know, and I like doing it. So.
And what's the meaning of the name of the band?
What's that?
And the meaning of the name of the band?
It's a long story, but back when I was in Malevolent, they used to call me Lavender Lee.
Okay.
So LAV, it's the LAV, and then this other guy was calling me Lavoisian, but and it was just, it's a made up word, it's a nonsense word basically, but I just went ahead and like kind of changed the spelling and like made it my own. And the idea is that, you know, I don't have to worry about another band being out there with that name.
Yeah, with the same name. Pretty you know. Great. Okay, yeah. Ele falou que é um jeito que ele achou para se manter ocupado, né? Também para praticar mais o vocal, assim. Né? Escreveu 60 músicas, né? Ainda mais, tem mais um outro 12 covers ali que ele deixou separado também. É diferente, né? É bem diferente do habitual, assim, né? Então, tipo, é uma coisa para ele se manter ocupado, né? Uma coisa diferente, assim, inusitada, né? E quanto ao nome ali, o nome tem a ver com como eles chamavam ele na época do Malevolent Creation, né? O LV ali. Então, tipo, não tem significado nenhum. Só é uma coisa que ele fez para não ter problemas com nenhuma outra banda com o mesmo nome. É bem mais original, assim.
É importante salientar que o pessoal que vai procurar essa banda já se prepara, porque é tipo um Johnny Cash, não é nada metal. E tem uma outra banda que ele também produziu e tocou guitarra, que é o Midnight, que é algo mais rock, assim, mais anos 80.
Mais Venom.
Pergunta pra ele quais são porque ele tocou guitarra, baixo, bateria e produziu.
Okay, Ivan was asking about Midnight.
Ele tá sentado na bateria.
Depois ele desce. Ivan was asking about Midnight. How was it to produce and play Midnight, the band?
That was fun. That was kind of another project that was like unexpected, you know. I remember being 15 years old and listening to the first Crimson Glory album in my bedroom and thinking like, wow, you know, they were a local band at the time, but I never met them. And but I remember thinking about, wow, this guy Midnight, he's killed, who's this guy Midnight? But it's just weird that years later I ended up meeting him, and we went into the project hoping to do like a Transcendence Part 2 kind of project, and he was kind of more into a folk kind of Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin type thing, and we never really got the Transcendence 2 that we wanted. It was kind of one of those things where like he was more off into that, and we just kind of made that happen for him. Like more or less documented his songs that he had written, and we did a covers album which is coming out. I've been waiting the vinyl. We've been waiting on the vinyl, as you know, the vinyl situation. Everything takes forever.
Yeah.
But we have it all ready to go other than the vinyl. So we're waiting on the vinyl. And once that goes out, we'll set a final release date. But the covers albums, it's, obviously he passed away in 2009. And, it took us a number of years to finally release the Descending into Madness CD, and we got that out. And there's still a few more things to release, definitely. And the covers album's next. So, and hopefully by this summer sometime we can get it out.
Great. Ok. Bom, ele fala que foi bem interessante, bem diferente também, né? Ele conheceu o cara um tempo depois, assim, da época, eles queriam fazer outras coisas junto também, né? Mas aí ele acabou morrendo, né? Pra lançar o vinil, os caras demoram muito tempo também, então, tipo, agora tá saindo, e eles planejam fazer um material novo também, agora, mais pro verão, assim, ano que vem, então já tem alguma coisa nova saindo aí.
Muito bom.
Ok?
Vamos. Quer complementar algo, Christian?
Não, eu ia pedir para ele dar um drumming aí para nós.
Isso, já agradece, a gente já passou rapidão aí, 45 minutos. Sim. A gente quer agradecer demais a presença do Lee aqui, uma referência para nós todos, né? Uhum. Um multi-instrumentista aí, uma grande influência nossa. Agradece e ele pede para ele descer a lenha aí, como diz o ditado.
Ok. Tá. Okay, Lee, it was a real pleasure to talk to you. Okay, thank you for the opportunity to have you here talking to us and to the audience here in Brazil. And I would like to ask you to play the drums a little bit. Amazing. And would you like to leave? Could you please leave a message to your fans here in Brazil?
Okay, Brazilian fans, love you guys. Can't wait to see you again. And hopefully we can get down there on a tour and see you soon.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah, muito bom, muito bom. Lee, thank you very much.
You got it, man. Take care, guys.
Galera, brigadão. Nosso mesmo, os bateristas aí, muito bom. E por último, aí, encerrando, né, o Perry do Violence vai estar com a gente aqui na próxima semana. Thank you, Lee. Thank you.
All right, guys. Take care.
See me hell, my friends. Subscribe to the channel.
Bye. Have a good night.
Good night.